Hello, Kentucky. Four-star prospect Maximo Adams includes Kentucky on his cut list before his official visit. The guy hasn't even arrived yet, and he's already named Kentucky among the finalists. That's big news. Should Pope bring the recruit? Let's analyze the news. Kentucky's inclusion on the final list of Maximo Adams. A four-star guard, considered the 29th best player in the 2026 class, with potential to rise even higher in the rankings, is a development that deserves special attention, not only because it reinforces the Wildcats' continued relevance on the national stage, but also because it represents a unique opportunity for Mark Pope to solidify his rebuilding vision in Lexington. The official visit scheduled for this weekend, coinciding with the football game against Ole Miss, will be a decisive moment to impress a player whose talent and versatility could be key to the team's future. Maximo Adams isn't just another name on a long list of prospects, with skills that make him a real threat on both offense and defense. He's exactly the type of player who can thrive in Mark Pope's system. His ability to create plays, score in multiple ways, and defend multiple positions makes him a valuable asset to any elite program. Furthermore, his personal connection to Pope through his older brother, Marcus Adams, who played under Pope at BYU, adds an emotional layer to the recruit that few other programs can match. Kentucky's inclusion in the final 11 schools is already a significant victory, especially considering the fierce competition. Programs like Duke, Kansas, Michigan State, North Carolina, and Texas are in the running for Adams, all with strong traditions and histories of college basketball success. However, Kentucky has something many of these rivals lack: the combination, a high-level platform, and a genuine connection between player and coach. This connection shouldn't be underestimated. The relationship between Mark Pope and Marcus Adams, however brief, creates a powerful narrative. For Maximo Adams, the chance to follow in his brother's footsteps and work with a coach who has already demonstrated confidence in his family is a difficult argument to ignore. Furthermore, Pope has shown since his arrival at Kentucky that he is committed to building an environment where players can grow both as a sport and as individuals. This balance between competitive ambition and personal development is exactly what many elite prospects seek. The timing of his visit is crucial. Adams is scheduled to visit other basketball giants in the coming weeks, including Michigan State, Kansas. This means Kentucky needs to make a lasting impression right away. If Pope and his staff can establish a strong connection with Adams during these 2 days, they will have a real chance to stand out from the crowd. And that doesn't just mean showcasing the glamorous side of the program, but also demonstrating how Adams can fit into the long-term plan to take the Wildcats to the top. The importance of recruiting Maximo Adams goes beyond his on-court skills. He represents an opportunity for Kentucky to reaffirm its status as a prime destination for the nation's top talent. At a time when the program is rebuilding its identity under Pope, securing a commitment from a player like Adams would be a clear sign that the Wildcats are getting back on track. He would bring not only talent, but also a winning mentality that could inspire other prospects to follow suit. Are you optimistic about this recruitment? At the end of the video, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The 24-16 victory against Toledo last Saturday may not have been an eye-catching spectacle, but it was a solid step forward for a team facing a challenging schedule. Described by many as one of the most intimidating in the country. Under Coach Mark Stoops, who has shaped the program with resilience and strategic vision for over a decade, the Wildcats showed that even in a less-than-perfect game, they have what it takes to compete and win. And speaking of the defensive line, Maximo's Humphrey Grace, whose arrival on the team is one of the biggest stories of the offseason. Humphrey Grace, a transfer from South Dakota, is no ordinary name. He arrived at Kentucky with the Missouri Valley Conference Defensive Player of the Year title on his resume, a credential that positions him as a key cog in Stoops' defensive scheme. For years, the Wildcats program has prided itself on its ability to recruit and develop robust offensive lines, capable of dominating the line of scrimmage and opening up lanes for the offense. Now, that same philosophy seems to be mirrored on defense, and Humphrey Grace is a significant improvement. His skill as a pass rusher already positions him as one of the team's best, and his presence on the field is seen as essential for the challenges ahead against opponents like the Ole Miss Rebels. Ranked 21st and coming off a stunning 63-point performance against Georgia State, the victory over Toledo, though close, was a relief for a fanbase that knows how crucial each game is in such a demanding schedule. The final score doesn't reflect the battle waged on the field, with the Wildcats facing moments of tension and uncertainty. One of those moments involved Humphrey Grace, who suffered a scare with an ankle injury during the game. The image of the player wearing a walking boot after the game immediately sparked concern among fans. But Coach Mark Stoops struck a calm tone when addressing the matter. According to the coach, the injury doesn't appear to be long-term, and there's optimism that the defender will be ready for the challenges ahead. This news is a breath of fresh air for a team that knows it will need all its strength to face Ole Miss, an opponent combining speed, talent, and an explosive offense led by Coach Lane Kiffin. Humphrey Grace's arrival to the program is a testament to the tireless work Stoops and his coaching staff have done to raise the recruiting bar, just as the offensive line has become a pillar of Kentucky's success over the years. The defensive line now receives a reinforcement that promises to be transformative. The ability to attract a player of Humphrey Grace's caliber from a competitive conference like the Missouri Valley demonstrates that the program not only develops internal talent, but also knows how to strategically source talent in the transfer market. This move is even more relevant in a year when the Wildcats face an unforgiving schedule, with games that will test the depth and resilience of the roster. Looking ahead to their upcoming matchup against Ole Miss, Humphrey Grace's potential presence on the field is a reason for optimism. His ability to pressure quarterbacks and disrupt plays will be crucial against an offense that has demonstrated its ability to explode. A second consecutive victory against the Rebels would be a remarkable achievement, cementing the confidence of a team looking not just to survive, but to thrive amid a brutal schedule. Even if Humphrey Grace needs a game or two to fully recover, the prospect of his absence being brief keeps spirits high. After all, in a sport where every snap counts, having a player of his ability back on the field quickly is an asset the Wildcats don't underestimate. What did you think of the Wildcats recruiting this year? Kentucky kicked off its 2025 season with a victory, and that alone carries significant weight. They won 24-16 against Toledo and Lexington, marking the symbolic milestone of their 5th consecutive opening season victory since 2021. And that was good. But what about quarterback Zach Calzada's debut? Calzada, a veteran who has played for Texas A&M, Auburn, and, most recently, Incarnate Word, didn't perform brilliantly. Quite the opposite. He completed just 10 of 23 passes, totaling 85 yards. And 1 interception. The cold statistics reveal his struggles: 0 completions on attempts of more than 20 yards and only 1 completion on 11 intermediate throws. The attack was largely limited to tight ends Josh Caddis and Willie Rodriguez Jr., who accounted for 74 of the 85 yards gained through the air. The wide receivers, meanwhile, were practically spectators, with only 12 yards total. But the game isn't defined solely by numbers, and Stoops made sure to emphasize this. When asked about the possibility of replacing Calzada with young Cutter Boley in the season opener, the coach was categorical. It would be premature. The message was clear. He believes in the veteran, is confident in the reserve's talent, but prefers to be guided by technical evaluation and calm, not external anxiety. Citing the case of Austin Simmons, the Ole Miss quarterback who is currently dazzling in his third year. Stoops outlined the line he intends to follow. Give time, allow for development, and don't get lost in the rush. This broader perspective also involves reviewing the plays. The coach himself said he went back to the game tape and, upon rewatching it, came away more excited than he had been initially. For Stoops, there are clear adjustments that can correct Calzada's mistakes, and this confidence carries strategic weight. By maintaining public composure, he preserves the locker room, protects his quarterback, and sends a message of stability to the group. While the Wildcats were lacking in the air, the story was quite different on the ground. The ground game worked with vigor. Dante Dowdle and Seth McGowan found the end zone and, together, combined for 207 yards on 32 carries, averaging 6.5 per attempt. The Big Blue Wall, revamped for this season, opened up important spaces and showed signs of being able to once again be a solid foundation, as it was in 2018 when the team built a historic 9-3 campaign. With two experienced and productive running backs, Kentucky's identity seems to be re-emerging around physicality, discipline, and dominance in the trenches. Looking ahead, the match against Ole Miss in Lexington promises to be a test of fire. Wide receivers will need to be involved to diversify the offense and alleviate pressure on the ground game. But the foundation is already laid. A team that wins even without shining in the air, that finds solutions with the strength of its backfield. And that has a coach capable of shielding the group at a time when external criticism could inflame. The victory over Toledo may not have been perfect, but did it provide lessons, strengthen confidence in the process, and confirm that this team can be different this year? That's what everyone hopes. Now, I want to hear your comments.